We're back live at the Rock Hill Sports and Events Center, getting set for our final first round ball game action of the men. It'll be the Maroon Tigers of Morehouse College and the Dragons of Lane College to conclude our 6-game set for tonight and get us pushed into quarterfinal play starting tomorrow in tournament play here from Rock Hill, South Carolina. Maroon Tigers at 14-12 overall and 11-9 in conference play. They'll meet the Dragons at 11-16 overall and 7-12 in conference play. Morehouse coming in number 3 in the East, and the Dragons of Lane College ranked number 5 coming out of the West. Good matchup between these teams. They played once during the course of the regular season. The Dragons won that one by 14 points. So we'll see what happens here in this ball game, which is critical for each of these teams who want to advance to the quarterfinals. You lose and you go home. So we'll take a look now at the starting lineups for both teams as they're being introduced here inside of the center. Dragons at 7-12 in conference play, 11-16 overall. Morehouse 11-8 in conference play and 14-12 overall. For the Dragons of Lane College, it'll be Andre Johnson going at one of the guards. Tyler Henry will join him in the backcourt. Daniel Hill, the third swing man for them for the Dragons of Lane College. D'Angelo Brown, the junior from Detroit. And Ray White, the freshman from Atlanta, or the junior from Atlanta, will get to start for Coach Bryant Bazemore and the Lane College Dragons. Coach Bazemore in his 9th year as the head coach of the Dragons of Lane College. Talk more about him as this ball game progresses. For the Maroon Tigers of Morehouse College, they'll shape it up this way. Robert Andrews, preseason all-conference player of the year. He'll go for the Maroon Tigers. Michael Olmert, the steady point guard for the Maroon Tigers. He will go out front. Tremel Gooden, the swing man for the Maroon Tigers, in the roster as well. Elisa Okanobi, the sophomore from Abuja, Nigeria, gets to start for the Maroon Tigers. And Jordan Sterling, the sophomore from Lithonia, rounds out the 5 for the Maroon Tigers of Morehouse College. They're coached by Grady Brewer, who is in his 20th campaign as a head coach of Morehouse College. So players have been introduced. Our final game of the first round of the SIAC tournament set to begin here in just a second. Okanobi will be jumping for the Maroon Tigers, and it'll be D'Angelo Brown jumping for the Dragons of Lane. Set to begin. Trying to determine our final entrant into quarterfinal play. Taps up and controlled by the Maroon Tigers. Again, they played in the regular season, and it was the Dragons with a 14-point win against Morehouse. Sterling handles, gives to Andrews, top of the key. Now they try to work it down at the block to Gooden. Gooden turns from there with the jumper and rims it good for the Maroon Tigers. So Gooden works out of the corner for the jumper to get our first points of the ball game. Dragons back the other way now. Daniel Hill handles out front. They work it to White. White turns with the jumper and missed badly right side. Gooden handles in the corner for Morehouse. Swings it back up top to Andrews. Andrews on a pass inside on the floater. The spinner is good by Jordan Sterling. So Morehouse with back-to-back baskets to get started in this first round ball game for both teams. Winner will push into the quarterfinals. And the winner will meet the Lions of Payne College, who won earlier against Tuskegee. Take a look at the penetration here. And there, Gooden takes the charge for Morehouse. Olmert handles in the backcourt for the Maroon Tigers. He'll work it down the sideline. He steps on the inbound line. So Payne punched its ticket in the game prior to this. And the winner of this one meets them on Thursday at 7:45. Hill out front. Jumper there by D'Angelo is off the mark. And we go back the other way to the Maroon Tigers as White cannot save it from going out of bounds. Olmert to Gooden. Now to Sterling. At the block, Okanobi. Okanobi turns with the soft jumper. Nicely converted by Okanobi. Morehouse with the early 6-0 lead. White handles right side now. Across the floor, throws it over to Hill. Hill inside the paint, stumbled and he lost the basketball. Morehouse with Andrews giving chase, runs it down left side. Sterling at the block to Okanobi. Okanobi, right-handed hook again. This one hit the back of the iron. White runs it down. And Lane looking for their first basket of the ball game. Ten-second violation there for the Dragons of Lane College. It's kind of nonchalant about getting across the timeline and got hit with the 10-second violation. 6-0 lead for the Maroon Tigers of Morehouse College. There'll be a half-court set here for Morehouse in terms of placing the basketball. They'll do a side out. Gooden to inbound it. Got Sterling, gives it back to Gooden. Gooden with the lay-in right to the basket. So nice play on the inbound play for the Maroon Tigers to get the basket. Gooden with his second field goal in his first half of play. Tyler Henry handles. Now gives it over to Johnson. Out front for three, and Daniel Hill drains the three-pointer of the ball game for the Dragons to get their first score. Gooden out front now. Gives it over to Andrews. Andrews to Olmert. Olmert slides right side. In the corner, this is Gooden with another shot at the basket. Missed on that one down in the corner. And here come the Dragons now. This is Henry with the basketball. Cross dribble, raises, fires a jumper, and kills it for the Dragons. So Morehouse with an 8-5 lead now, just underway here in the men's final contest in first round activity. Glad you could join us on Flo Hoops for our coverage all day long and into this ball game as well. Sterling pushes across the floor to Olmert. Andrews handles out front now. Back to Olmert underneath, and the basketball at the baseline saved by Gooden. Jumper in the corner is an air ball. Gooden to the surface, and there's a shot clock violation there for Morehouse, and it'll go back over to the Dragons of Lane College. Sterling had to take that desperation three in the corner, got an air ball. That caused the violation. 8-5 lead for Morehouse. Hill across the timeline for the Dragons. He'll push hard left side and whistles on a travel violation. Good defensive work there by Michael Olmert to front him up left side. And Hill commits to travel. Olmert works it across the timeline, right side. Andrews in the corner now. He'll head toward the basket to the cylinder and missed on the shot. Basketball belongs to the Dragons. Gooden gave chase at the baseline, not able to grab it. Come to a timeout now with 15:53 left in this first half of play. Morehouse leading at 8-5 over the Dragons of Lane College. We will take a break here as well and back with more live action on Flo Hoops. Back live inside the Rock Hill Sports and Event Center. Lane at 50% shooting from the floor, 2 of 4. Morehouse 50% at 4 of 8. Early action here with 15:47 left in the first half. 8-5 lead for Morehouse. White on the inside now. Works on Okanobi. Leaner and got the basket for the Dragons of Lane College. 1 point lead now for Morehouse as Sterling's going to be guilty of the carry violation for Morehouse. Jordan Sterling, a sophomore from Lithonia, Georgia, with the turnover there. 8-7 lead. Just looking perhaps to pass it somewhere in between passing it and dribbling. Hill with the basketball now for the Dragons. Works it right side to Henry. Now they go back to White at the block. White works, leans back with the jumper. Nicely done by White inside for the basket. So Ray White with back-to-back buckets for the Dragons, and they take a 1-point lead, 9-8. Olmert out front now for the Maroon Tigers. Cross dribble by Olmert, leaves behind for Okanobi, who lost the handle on it. So the turnover gives it back over the lane. Henry with the basketball. Tried to dump it down low, but pass batted out of bounds by Tramel Gooden for the Maroon Tiger defense. We're at 14:44 left, first half of play. Morehouse started out hot from the floor. And Lane now starting to come on. They lead it by a point, 9-8. Whistles and a travel violation there by White. So Morehouse with an 8-0 lead early on. And the remaining points on the scoreboard now have gone to the Dragons of Lane. They claim a 9-8 lead. Olmert, they're going to try to trap him. He fires across the floor to Andrews. Back to Olmert up top. Bounce pass, Gooden. 13 to shoot for the Maroon Tigers. Olmert trying to work off a screen by Okanobi. Now lost this dribble. 6 to shoot. Andrews fires from outside and drains it for the Maroon Tigers. Robert Andrews knocks down a tough shot there for Morehouse from outside with the clock dwindling down. Makes it an 11-9 lead for the Maroon Tigers. Hill out front. Jumper this time by D'Angelo Brown. His shot is off the mark. Andrews clears for Morehouse. Over to Olmert. Now Sterling, left flank. They go to Andrews. Head fake by him. Whistles on the play. Travel violation. So Brandon Danso, the junior, out on the floor now for the Dragons. Also coming out is Joseph Logan, the freshman from Huntsville, Alabama. Cairo Whitfield out on the floor now for Coach Grady Brewer and the Maroon Tigers. On the turn, Hill free now. They go back inside. They're trying to work on their height advantage that they have. That time they had Logan at 6'2", guarded by Olmert. And Olmert listed at 5'9". Olmert picks up the foul. So right of the cylinder, it'll be Tyler Henry to inbound it. Pushes it in the corner to Daniel Hill. Hill on the move, bounce pass, foul line extended with the jumper. And that's a good look there for Brandon Danso. He knocks it down for the Dragons, tying the game at 11. Andrews down in the corner, back up top now to Olmert. Whistles will go back the other way. Illegal screen there by Tramel Good. So he picks up his first, and the basketball over to the Dragons of Lane College. 13:05 left in this first half of play. Henry, half-court set for the Dragons. Over to Johnson. They push it across the floor to Hill. He'll fire a three-pointer from outside and missed on that one. Whitfield clears for Morehouse. Over to Olmert. Entry pass, left block, Gooden. Gooden had it tapped from behind and taken away by the Dragons. They'll lead it up the floor now with the pass to Henry, and Henry had it taken away by Jordan Sterling, and Sterling throws it across the floor and out of bounds. So Sterling, the sophomore there, not accurate about that pass at all as you look at the strip away from Gooden down in the block. And back the other way, Tyler Henry had it taken away from him by Sterling. And that was Whitfield trying to throw it across the floor and tossed it out of bounds. Tied at 11 with 12:32 left first half. Chris Brown out on the floor now for the Maroon Tigers, as the Dragons have it on a half-court set. Out for them on the floor is Brandon Mason, the redshirt freshman. Johnson swings it across the floor, whistles on the play, and that'll be a travel violation by Edger Fox. Fox, the junior for the Dragons, out on the floor. Tied at 11 now, Morehouse with the basketball. Holbert works it inside the paint. Down at the block, Whitfield had it stripped away by our collapsing Dragon defense. Behind the back, and still in the control there is Fox. And whistles now as they stand on the inbound line with a pass in the corner. Timeout with 11:52 left in the first half. We're tied at 11 as there's a series of turnovers by both teams in the last couple of sets leaves us right where we are. Step out for a break here. More of this men's first round contest comes your way on Flo Hoops. $11:52 remains in this first half. Maroon Tigers of Morehouse College and the Dragons of Lane College trying to determine which team advances to quarterfinal play on Thursday. We're live from the Rock Hill Sports and Events Center in Rock Hill, South Carolina, the home of the 2020 SIAC Basketball Tournament. And you're watching live coverage on Flo Hoops. Morehouse set to inbound the basketball. Olmert handles in the backcourt. Morehouse in an early departure in the tournament last year with a surprising first round loss. They appeared in the first round of the quarterfinals for them. They had a bye, and we got a travel call there against Kyle Whitfield in the inside. Lost in that quarterfinal game 53-49 to the Lions of Payne College, who just punched their ticket to quarterfinal play in the game prior to this. And the Dragons of Lane College got through the first round play with an 86-84 win over Benedict College last year and made it to the quarterfinals, where they were stopped there by the Golden Rams of Albany State. Final in that ball game, 73-65. Out front now for the Dragons, it's Fox. Fox inside the paint, and he commits a travel violation. So neither team seemingly able to settle down completely in this first half of play. Lane with 8 turnovers, and Morehouse with 8. Left side with the basketball is Brown, the redshirt sophomore. Andrews from way downtown and knocks down a three-pointer for the Maroon Tigers. Way away from the basket there. Andrews knocks it down, his second triple of this first half. Quick move to the basket now, lost inside the paint by Fox. Olmert back the other way, and a whistle there, and they're going to get him for the travel violation. Jarius Adley, the senior, out on the floor now for Morehouse. He'll replace Olmert in the lineup. Fox out front with the basketball for the Dragons. Danso trying to set a screen for him. They work it down in the paint, and it's travel for travel. We have had 3 travel calls in a row, one broken up by the three-point basket by Andrews, and 1 travel call before that. So 4 over the last couple of minutes. This is Malik Kennedy, the sophomore, on the floor now, handling the basketball. Now gives it over to Brown. Brown, foul line extended, shot partially deflected. Up the floor, basketball. Dragons trying to run it down at the baseline as Adley took it away for Morehouse. But Kennedy now steps in the paint, now penetrates back in, down in the corner to Brown. Andrews in the corner with the jumper. The rimmer is off the mark. Basketball tapped out of bounds by Brown. And it'll go back the other way. 14-11 lead for the Maroon Tigers. Hawks back the other way now. Almost guilty of an over and back. Basketball into the hands of Miles Lee, the junior who is out on the floor. Lee gives it back over to Fawkes. Now 10 to shoot for the Dragons. Behind the arc, firing a three-pointer. And the shot's off the mark, but the rebound and the put back on the inside. Nicely done by D'Angelo Brown. Morehouse got Brown streaking the floor, and he got the lay-in. So 16-13 lead for Morehouse after the basket by Brown. Mason handles out front across the floor with the pass to Fawkes, and they throw the basketball away. Blocking foul going to be called in the backcourt on D'Angelo Brown. Kennedy will inbound it for Morehouse. Mason takes a seat. Daniel Hill back out on the floor now for Bryant Bazemore and the Dragons of Lane College. Adley, left side to Brown. Adley with a hard push left side all the way to the rack. He'll get the lay-in and a basket. Jarius Adley, the senior from Dallas, Texas. Hard move left side. Drew that defense and kept the concentration for the lay-in. So Adley to shoot one here from the line. Missed on the free throw, but the basketball bounces away. 3 lane defenders down there, neither able to collect it. And Morehouse with another look. Kennedy back to Adley. Down in the corner to Whitfield. We're at 8:40 left in the first half. Now on the move is Brown inside the paint. Lost it on the surface. Struggle for the basketball, and White finally picks it up for the Dragons. Over the hill. Trapped out front there by the Maroon Tigers. Tries to step through it, and a foul going to be called on Adley. So 8:22 left in this first half. 5-point lead for the Maroon Tigers. It'll be Tyler Henry, the freshman, to inbound it. Just left of the scorer's table. Henry with the inbound pass to Kentavious Webster, who just got on the floor. They give it inside the White, pushing hook shot by White. He's good there for the Dragons. Adley back the other way for Morehouse now. Kennedy tried to push it inside the Whitfield. Whitfield had to tap it back out to Tramel Gooden, who's back out on the floor. We come to the 8-minute mark in this first half. Sterling to Gooden, now to Whitfield, to the glass, and he banks it home. And we got a technical foul called here, it appears. Looks like it's Malik Kennedy that was hit with the technical foul for Morehouse. So Kennedy gets nabbed. And there'll be some free throws coming here. Whitfield hit that bank shot. And then I guess coming back the other way down the floor, something was said in earshot of the officials as a tech is thrown as the team was coming back down the floor. So with 7:49 left in this first half, a timeout on the floor. Morehouse leads it 20-15, but we'll see what the Dragons do after the free throws on the Tech in possession of the basketball. Take a break here on FloHoops coverage of the SIAC tournament. Back live in the Rock Hill Sports and Events Center. 7:49 left in this first half of the men's final first-round ball game to determine, as we take a look at the replay, trying to see if we can't pick up what was happening to make this tech be justified. As you see, Whitfield finishing that play with the bank shot, and as you look down at the left part of the camera, You see Malik Kennedy walking back down the floor just in front of the earshot of the official, likely naming something off to Tyler Henry for the Dragons as they came back down the floor. But it winds up with Daniel Hill at the line shooting free throws for the Dragons and converting both there on the technical. Now they will have the basketball coming back the other way. So Henry set to inbound the basketball. Hill comes across the timeline. Bounce pass up top to White. Now across the floor they go to Condravius Webster. Now back to White, squaring against Whitfield. Spins, top of the key, pass Badett, and it'll come away to Adley for the Maroon Tigers, and Adley got the lay-in. And this is going to go against the offensive player, Daniel Hill, creating that contact on Adley. Good call by the official there, right on top of that. You can see Hill kind of stop and push that contact by kind of lunging his rear end to Adley, who was just running up the floor. 22-17, Morehouse with the lead. They inbound the pass. Now they give it to Gooden, and it's tapped away. He'll have to run it down. He does, as we go down to 7:15 left first half. Andrews out front, pushes across the floor to Adley. Now on the turn, Jordan Sterling tried to get it down low to Cairo Whitfield, and Whitfield could not handle the pass. Nothing wrong with the pass by Sterling, because Whitfield just not quite ready for it. We're down to 7:05. 5-point lead for the Maroon Tigers. Hill set to come across the timeline. Entry pass to White. Akinobi back out on the floor. White at the block, whistles there, and they'll get him for the travel. So turnover number 14 for the Dragons of Lane College. Morehouse with the basketball. Jarius Adley handling the basketball up front for the Maroon Tigers. Whistles at contact. And the foul's going to be called on Tyler Henry, the freshman for the Dragons. As Lou Johnson back out on the floor now for the Dragons. And Tremel Gooden set to inbound it for Morehouse. Pushes in the backcourt to Adley. Adley back to Gooden. Sterling behind the arc, over to Andrews. At the block to Akinobi. He'll turn inside the paint. Now spins with the right hand. Nicely done by Akinobi. Kept spinning and turning till he found his space on the floor and got the little crip jumper for the basket. 24-17 after that hoop by Akinobi. Behind the arc, firing a three-pointer. That's a shot. That's an alley-oop ball, and it actually comes down into the hands of Webster, and Webster got the lay-in. Up the floor, Andrews trying to give chase, and the basketball going in the direction. Looks like it'll stay with the Maroon Tigers. And so back out on the floor for Coach Brandon Bazemore and the Dragons of Lane College. Entry pass there. And Michael Omert back out for Morehouse to handle the basketball up front. Omert. Jordan Sterling. Now Robert Andrews handles. Entry pass, Goodman. Foul on extended, and Gooden not able to convert. Dragons pushing back the other way now with Hill handling after Johnson got the rebound. Hill down at the block to Danso. Over to Johnson. Back to Hill. Squares, fires a three, knocks it down for the Dragons. Makes it a 2-point lead for Morehouse. Andrews are trying to square it to Akinobi if they can. Olmert handles, and it's stolen away there. Good defensive work by Achi. And Achi to the line, to the goal, and not able to convert on that. And the basketball still will belong to the Dragons of Lane College. D'Angelo Brown back out on the floor. Hill handles out front. Hard push by Hill. Leaves it at the side for Webster. Webster tried to dip it back out front, and they throw the basketball away. Spacing is not what they needed. Gooden to the rack. He missed on the lay-in. Akinobi there to save it and give the Maroon Tigers another look with a fresh 20. Olmert inside the paint, slides back out front. Foul called on D'Angelo Brown. 4:29 left first half. Gooden will inbound it for Morehouse, left of the cylinder. Got it in play to Olmert. Top of the key, Andrews, he's free. And that's too easy for him. He knocks that down. So Andrews has only one shot from the floor. He's 3 of 4 in this first half of play. 27-22, Hill with a three-pointer, rattled and he missed. Rebound to Tramel Gooden for the Maroon Tigers. Pushes to Olmert, left side. Now Gooden up top. Trying to get it to Akinobi. Danso trying to square him down at the block. Jordan on the move. He lost it from behind, but it'll go off the leg of the Dragons on the inside. Miles Lee set to come in on the floor for the Dragons, but he'll have to do that after the timeout. 3:44 remains as you take a look at the pure form of Robert Andrews and the jumper from outside to build a 27-22 lead for the Maroon Tigers over the Dragons at Lane College. 3:44 remains first half. Take a timeout here. More basketball action on FloHoops after the timeout. Back live inside the Rock Hill Sports and Event Center. Andrews in the corner as play resumes. Over to Olmert. Olmert back out front. Gooden with a good look at the basket, and he drains it for the Maroon Tigers. That was a three-point shot there by Gooden. 30-22, the lead up to 8 now for the Maroon Tigers. Entry pass there to Webster. Webster trying to push it back out front, and the Dragons barely able to save the basketball. Back out front, Danso. Now down in the corner, Johnson. He'll fire a three-pointer and left that one on the front of the cylinder. Olbert pushes for Morehouse now. Leave behind for Jordan. Sterling, and Sterling's shot is short of the mark. Here comes Hill and the Dragons. He'll raise and fire a three-pointer, and he missed on his opportunity. Dragons try to save it, and a whistle in the backcourt. I think they may get Hill for impeding, and they will, as he ran into the path of Tramel Gooden. Bad break there for Morehouse because they had a clear break down the floor for an easy lay-in. So now the Morehouse is in the 1-and-1 after that foul. So Gooden will go to the line to shoot. Gooden with 7 points in this first half of play. And he misses on the front end of the 1-and-1. Rebound to Tyler Henry. Johnson handles behind the arc. Good move by him. Running jumper by Johnson, and he knocks it down for the Dragons. His first basket of the ball game for the Dragons. Makes it a 30-24 lead. Andrews trying to get it down at the block to Akinobi. He'll turn, and they'll get him. Is there going to be a foul called in there? Or I think they're going to say that the basketball was touched by Danso, so it was not an up and down, so Morehouse will keep the basketball. So Gooden will inbound it. And they push it back out front to Olmert. Olmert, quick step inside the paint, had it batted from behind, and it'll stay with the Maroon Tigers. .13 to shoot for Morehouse as Gooden will inbound it now, this time right of the cylinder. Dumps it to Andrews. Back up top to Olmert. Slides right side. And a whistle and a foul inside the paint. Olmert got the quick step past Falks. And Falks is trying to catch up. There's the contact. That's Olmert on the penetration. 2:10 left, first half of play. Olmert, front end of the 1-and-1, can't convert. Rebound cleared by Falks. Up the floor, left side to Miles Lee. Lee can't convert on the jumper. So Morehouse back the other way, but it's taken away from Olmert. Back to Falks, left side to the rack, missed on the shot again. Basketball on the floor once more. This time Akinobi dives on it, and they're going to call jump ball. Robert Andrews is trying to get a timeout called. But before he was able to do that, the jump ball was called. And it looks like it's going to stay with the Dragons on their end of the floor. Good action on the floor there on that exchange. Chris Brown back out on the floor for the Maroon Tigers. Arston Johnson out for the Dragons of Lane College. And Ray White back out as well. Entry pass to White, has to come out behind the arc to regain it though. Now he'll work right side to the rack on Akinobi, but shot it hard. Got 1:44 left first half. Morehouse leading by 6 with the basketball. They push it into Akinobi, left block. Now right side, Andrews behind the arc. Gooden now back inside to Akinobi. He turns with the jumper, missed that one. White there to clear it for the Dragons. Tyler Henry handles out front. Now gives over to Falks. Back out front to Henry. Johnson out front now with 8 to shoot for the Dragons of Lane, and they throw the basketball away just in front of the Morehouse bench. You got the sense that things were going to go south pretty quickly for the Dragons as they were delayed and trying to get something started. And you see Johnson lose it there, bobbled it momentarily, and the turnover sends it back to Morehouse with 48 seconds left in the first half. This is Brown with the basketball, back to Olmert. Olmert to Andrews now. Andrews across the floor to Gooden, 8 to shoot. Olmert at the block, shovel pass inside to Brown. Trouble getting it up, and now on a second effort able to do it and got the basket. .20 seconds left in the half. Morehouse has built a 32-24 lead. Equals their largest lead of the ball game, which is 8 points. At the block, the floater is short of the mark. Morehouse will have a chance here now. Brown pushes it across the floor to Akinobi, and they cannot get the shot up. Needed to go early in that sequence out with a jump shot instead of trying to run it down inside the paint. Anyway, Morehouse, despite not able to convert here on that final shot of the first half, they come away with a 32-24 halftime lead over the Dragons of Lane College in our final ball game and first round play of the SIAC tournament. The winner will advance to quarterfinal play. Take a break here. Get you set for second half action between the Maroon Tigers of Morehouse College and Lane Dragons in the 2020 SIAC tournament action from Rock Hill Sports and Events Center. We are back live at the Rock Hill Sports and Events facility here in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Men's action on the floor. The Maroon Tigers of Morehouse College and the Dragons of Lane College engaged in the final first round ball game to determine our final participant in quarterfinal play for the men. At the intermission, it's a 32-24 lead for the Maroon Tigers of Morehouse College. And the stats from the first half look this way. Morehouse just really on fire from the floor at almost 54% shooting. And Lane at 44%. Ordinarily, that'll be enough for them to be leading the ball game. But Morehouse just doing an outstanding job there from the floor. They started out that way. 57% from behind the arc. Robert Andrews, a big reason that number is so high for the Maroon Tigers. And the rebounding edge going to the Dragons of Lane College. And look at the assist column. 10 for the Maroon Tigers and 3 for the Dragons of Lane College. Morehouse led by Andrews in scoring with that first half. He had 9 points, 3 of 3 from behind the arc. He was the leading scorer in that ball game in the first 20 minutes. Daniel Hill had 8 for the Dragons of Lane College. Turnovers, 19 for Lane, 12 for the Maroon Tigers. Second half action underway now. Final 20 minutes to determine who will go on to quarterfinal play. Whistles on the penetration by Michael Olmert. And Hill picks up that foul. So Hill with that foul, that is his 4th. And he got that one early here in second half play. Be interesting to see how this Dragon team functions with him having to sit for a moment. As Jordan Sterling races across the free throw line and gets the basketball over to Akinobi. Now back to Olmert, who fires a three-pointer and an air ball. Rebound by Gooden. He tried to put it back. He shot an air ball, so shot clock expiration there for the Maroon Tigers. So Lane back the other way now. Trailing by 8. Johnson. Entry pass to White. Back out front to Henry. Cross dribble by Henry. Floater in the paint. Whistles on the penetration. So Andrews, beg your pardon, picked up that foul. And Henry to the line to shoot here for the Dragons. Henry scoreless in that, only had 2 points in that first half. Henry on the season averaging over 15 points per ball game for the Dragons. So Lane not able to get a whole lot of offensive output in that first half of play. He goes 1 of 2 from the line, make it 32-25. Left side Andrews behind the arc now, trying to get it to Akinobi. He squares and floats the right-handed hook, and he knocks it down. So Akinobi now with his 6th point of the ball game. At 18:46 left in the contest, Morehouse with a 34-25 lead. The left side, Henry behind the arc. Johnson across the floor now. Now they work it inside to White. White back outside the arc to Brown. Brown to the cylinder now, and the spinner falls good for Brown. 34-27 after that basket. Gooden to Andrews. Head fake by Andrews with the jumper. Spinner is off the mark. Basketball's tapped over to the Dragons. They come back the other way. Henry with the lead behind. There's the jumper by Brown, and he knocks down the triple for the Dragons of Lane College. That'll make it 34-30. We go to 17:50 left in the ball game. Gooden. Left corner, Akinobi with the jumper. The rimmer's off the mark. Basketball comes clear to Fox and the Dragons. Fox works it left side. Johnson takes it over. Top of the key, foul unextended. There's another jumper there by Brown, and he knocks it down. Back-to-back baskets by Brown down the floor for the Dragons, and that'll force a timeout by the Maroon Tigers. With 17:26 left in the ball game, Morehouse retains a 2-point lead, 34-32. As the action on the floor, as you see inside, Tyler Henry missing on that shot. But the baskets down the floor outside by Brown has made the difference there, knocking one down from three-point range as they cut into that Morehouse lead. Take a break here on Flo Hoops as we leave you with the final basket by Brown on the shot. Back live at the Rock Hill Sports and Events Center. 17:26 remaining in the final men's first round competition. Morehouse with a 2-point lead, 34-32 over the Dragons of Lane College. Morehouse with the basketball. Olmert out front. The senior from Atlanta. Jordan Sterling handles away from the basket. Now Gooden handles. Olmert's free in the corner with 9 to shoot. Tried to go inside and challenge, and he drew some body contact, and he will be going to the line. D'Angelo Brown guilty of a foul for the Dragons of Lane College, and that is his third personal. So Olmert to shoot now for the Maroon Tigers. Olmert didn't score in that first half, but he had 4 assists. And he hits the first free throw here. Morehouse. No free throws. Didn't convert any free throws in the first half. 0-3, but they get back-to-back free throws here from Michael Olmert. They lead it 36-32. Brandon Danso back out on the floor, runs down that basketball. On the weave, Henry to the rack, missed on the floater. Basketball back in the hands of Henry. His shot rejected, and Morehouse comes away with the basketball. Olmert works it. Sterling pushes through to Gooden, fires for three-point range and knocks it down for Morehouse. All alone on the far side of the floor, and Gooden knocks it down. He's got 9 points. Well, he's got 10 points after that three-pointer in the corner. Henry works it left side. Back across the floor to Henry. They lose the basketball. A couple of players in the same space. Morehouse back the other way now. Olmert with the left hand. Nicely done. 41-32 after the basket by Olmert. Henry fires a three-pointer. Left it short. Basketball fought for. Comes clear to Fox for the Dragons. Dragons forced to take a timeout. .48 left in the ball game. It's going to take the TV timeout and a media timeout here with Morehouse leading at 41-32. The players just kind of tying it up at the sideline for that loose basketball. Take a break here on Flo Hoops. Back with more of this men's competition from the SIAC tournament after the break. 15:48 remaining in this men's contest. This will determine our final spot in quarterfinal play. The winner of this ball game will meet the Lions of Payne College in quarterfinal play on Thursday. Danso on the weave. They got it in the corner to Johnson. Henry behind the arc, raises with the jumper. Would have counted if they had it. No, but a foul call there. They called the foul on Jordan Sterling. Buzzer was sounding, but the foul occurred before that. So Sterling, the sophomore, bailing out the Dragons there by sending Tyler Henry to the line. The Dragons aware that that shot clock was running down, so Henry had to force it up, but Sterling commits the foul. So Henry gets them both from the line. Make it 41-34. Olmert in the front court now for Morehouse. Over to Andrews. Andrews up top to Sterling. Now they go left flank to Gooden. Gooden forcing his way back in, goes underneath, and he drew a foul. Foul will be called on D'Angelo Brown. So Brown picks up his fourth. So Brown with 4. And Daniel Hill already on the Dragon bench with 4. So Gooden goes to the line here for Morehouse to shoot. Gooden with 10 points in the ball game. Chance to add to his totals. Gooden got the first free throw. Ray White back out on the floor after D'Angelo Brown picks up his fourth. 42-34, Morehouse with the lead. Gooden with one more free throw. Rattled and missed that one. Basketball is controlled by Danso and the Dragons. Artisan Johnson handles the basketball across the timeline now for Lane College. Whistles down inside the paint. Gooden trying to deny Danso on the inside, and they get him for the foul. .15:02 remains. Henry to inbound it. Johnson, top of the key. Lost this dribble. Good deflection there by Morehouse, but regains inside the paint. Akinobi rejects his shot. 9 to shoot now for the Dragons. And a carry of the basketball by Johnson on the penetration. 14:46 remains as Johnson, favoring that right eye, took a shot on that penetration. He will depart the basketball game. Chris Brown on the floor now for the Maroon Tigers as Olmert crosses the timeline. Sterling back to Olmert. Looking for a screen from Akinobi. He got it. He'll work inside now. Underneath with that Euro step that he's known for, and he got a lay-in. Lead is 10 now by Morehouse. Down at the block, they're trying to get it to Danso, and they throw the basketball away. So a turnover there by the Dragons gives it back to Morehouse with a chance to build on their 10-point lead. Brown over to Andrews. Now Olmert tries to attack left side down in the corner to Sterling. Now here's Brown on the move. To the rack, missed on the shot. White clears the errant shot for the Dragons, and he'll push it up the floor himself. White slides all the way right side, floater in the corner. Coast to coast on the basket for White. 44-36 after his two. White now with 8 points in the ball game. Brown across the floor to Olmert. Bounce pass. Sterling got rid of it before the double could get there. Now they go at the block to Akinobi. Okanobi and whistles inside the paint. They'll get Danso for the foul on the inside. 13 minutes, 16 seconds remains. So Akinobi here with a chance for some free throws. That's 6 points in the ball game. Now give him 7 with that free throw. Dragons call on Brandon Mason back out on the floor. And Condravius Webster out as well. Free throws good by Akinobi. Lead back up to 10 for Morehouse. White slides right side all the way through. Missed on the shot. Basketball tapped around. Olmert clears. Contact down in the corner by Mason. So the basketball to Morehouse. There's a little bumping there by Mason on Olmert. Brown in the front court. He'll penetrate, slicing right side. Tried to leave it for Akinobi inside, and we go back the other way on the turnover. Cairo Whitfield back out on the floor now for the Maroon Tigers. He replaces Akinobi in the lineup. We'll go to 12:50 left in the ball game. Mason, left side to White. Whitfield challenging. Back to Mason. Across the floor they go now. Henry handles. Nice move by him with the jumper. Left it short on the iron just beyond the free throw line. Olmert works it right side. 12 to shoot. Slides the paint, gives to Andrews. Andrews at the block to Whitfield. Whitfield lost it off of his foot. So the basketball back over to the Dragons. Couple of substitutions on the floor now for Coach Bazemore and the Dragons. Lou Johnson back out on the floor. And so is Miles Lee. Tyler Henry across the timeline. Trying to get it inside to Danso, but they have to work it around the perimeter instead. In the left corner, firing a three-pointer. The spinner is good by Brandon Mason. So 46-39, Morehouse still leads. Gooden penetrates inside. The floater is good by him. But he felt some contact coming in there, and he goes down beside the Morehouse bench. So play has stopped momentarily as Gooden took a hard tumble or some contact inside on the layup. Take a look at it, see if we can pick out what happened here on his penetration on the inside. Looks like it happened to his right leg. Not sure if it's down near the ankle or the thigh. So we'll take one more look at it and see. Came up hobbling immediately. He turned his ankle there inside the paint. Had a hard step there inside the paint and just turned his ankle. To take a look at it, you'll see that right ankle just give way for him on that step right there. .36 left in the basketball game. Timeout on the floor with Morehouse leading at 48-39. Yeah, taking another look at it, you can see how he turned that ankle on the penetration. Question of how severe that's going to be if he can continue in this ball game. There you see it right there. Hard to judge those things. Didn't look like it was that bad, but you never know. Gooden's a big kid, carrying a lot of weight, a lot of muscle weight, and you just never know. Just have to wait and see if he's able to return. But Morehouse with a 48-39 lead, trying to secure that final spot for the men in quarterfinal play. Action starts tomorrow at 1 o'clock here from the Rock Hill Sports and Event Center. The women's quarterfinal at 1, men at 3:15. And then the women at 5:30 and finish at 7:45 with men's play. So the Dragons now are to play resumes. Out front, Johnson handles the basketball. Across the floor now, three-point shot there. The rimmer and falls good there for Miles Lee. So Lee's triple makes it 48-42. Andrews up top, over to Olmert. Olmert on the move. They left him all alone on the penetration. So Olmert with the basket. 50-42 lead to 8 now for Morehouse. Johnson, top of the key to Henry. Entry pass, Danso, and a whistle on the play. Jordan Sterling trying to catch up from behind and grabbing the arm of Danso. Daniel Hill with those 4 personals checks into the lineup for Coach Bazemore. Michael Olmert, I think he had to come out of the basketball game because they detected some blood somewhere, either on his jersey, as Jarius Adley now set to come into the lineup to replace him. Mason to inbound it for the Dragons, does so to Danso. Pushes back out front to Hill. On the turn, jumper in the corner. This one's off the mark. Johnson had a look at it, but Adley clears for Morehouse. Pushes right side, Jordan Sterling. Andrews across the floor. On the give, Sterling. The left-handed floater is good by Sterling. Sterling with his 4th point of the ball game. Lead is 10 now for Morehouse with 10:22 left in the contest. Hill works left side. Well, he'll have a look behind the arc. 13 to shoot for the Dragons. They spin it left side to the rack. They'll count the basket. Nicely done by Mason on the move, and he's fouled. So good look at the lay-in by Mason left side. Got it high off the arc, off the glass for the lay-in. He converts on the three-point play with the free throw. 52-45. Morehouse with the lead and basketball. They push it across the floor to Adley. Adley, left-handed shot rejected inside. Hill comes away with it over to Johnson. Down in the corner for 3. That one looks short and is short. Whistles on the play. Danso trailing Whitfield, and he'll commit the foul. Adley's shot rejected inside the paint there by the Dragons, starting their own break. They settle on a jumper in the corner, but that one just barely creases the rim. And Danso there, out of position as Whitfield was down low, tries to commits the foul by trying to get to that basketball. Under 10 minutes left in the ball game now. Adley, left side to Gooden. Gooden back on the floor, so that's good news for the Maroon Tigers. Whitfield free inside, and he got the lay-in. Make it 54-45. Whitfield or Gooden turned that ankle, but able to make it back out on the floor. Floater right corner, that one's off the mark. Adley clears for Morehouse. Right side, Andrews. Up top, Cairo Whitfield. Nice shuttle pass on the inside and a finish by Tramel Goodman. So with 8:53 left, Morehouse starting to create the separation. 56-45 after the successive baskets down the floor. Johnson in the paint to White. He will turn on Whitfield. Head fake. Got it to the rack. And a foul going to be called. So they'll get Whitfield for the foul. As you see White trying to jockey for position there. So White to shoot 2. Misses on the first of 2. Morehouse lead is 11. their largest lead of the contest. White for the second. Got that one to fall. Adley, left side Malik Kennedy, who just got back out on the floor. Now Whitfield, right post. Andrews raises, fires, missed on that jump shot. Kennedy clears backside though. Morehouse with a fresh 20. Kennedy out front. Lead behind for Gooden. 6 to shoot. Gooden at the block. Shot rejected in the corner. It'll be 2 seconds to shoot here for Morehouse after the block by White on the inside. Kennedy there as Gooden penetrates left side. And White rejects that. Timeout on the floor with 8 minutes remaining, and Morehouse leading at 56-46 over the Dragons of Lane College. We'll take a break here on Flo Hoops and back with more men's action. Back live inside the Rock Hill Sports and Event Center. Kamel Gooden set to inbound the basketball for the Maroon Tigers right of their cylinder. They lead at 56-46 over the Dragons of Lane College. Quickly into Robert Andrews. He missed on the jump shot. Had to fire it up before the buzzer. Dragons coming back the other way now. Hill in traffic, and it's taken away by the Maroon Tigers. 3-on-1 basketball. Kennedy over to Gooden. Shot rejected. And the Dragons come back the other way, and they have numbers. Down at the block underneath. Shot's going to be blocked by Whitfield, but he got some body check in on Fulks, and Fulks will go to the line to shoot here for Lane College. So 7:41 left. Fulks, the junior from Nassau, Bahamas, to shoot too. Got the shooter's roll on that one. That falls good for him. 56-47. Now 56-48 after the 2 free throws by Fox. Olmert back out on the floor now for the Maroon Tigers. Jarius Adley to the sideline. Left corner. Across the floor now to Andrews. We're down to 7:27. Olmert with a quick move now down in the corner. Jordan Sterling with the triple and knocks it down just in front of the Morehouse bench. 59-48 after the triple by Sterling. White spins the paint, and a blocking foul called there by Whitfield. So Ray White will go to the line as you take a look at the jumper in the corner by Jordan Sterling. Plenty of time to knock it down. Sterling with his 5th point of the ball game. White got the first free throw. Blocking foul there you can see on Whitfield inside. Never really got his feet set as White was turning toward the basket. Missed on the second free throw. Gooden down in the corner to Sterling. At the block, Akinobi, who's back out on the floor. White tapped it away, but White saying it went off of the backside leg of Akinobi. Take a look at that replay as they worked it inside. White slapped it away, and he's absolutely right. The back leg of Akinobi is where that basketball hit. All right, probably going, what do I got to do to get a break here? So the Dragons have the basketball now, trailing by 10. We're down to 6:58 remaining. Hill across the floor now with the pass to Brown. Brown out on the floor with 4. White, foul line extended, and he knocks that down for the Dragons. Lead is down to 8 now for Morehouse. Olmert out front. 10 to shoot now for the Maroon Tigers. Olmert got to make something happen inside the paint with the floater. Shots off the mark. Gooden got the rebound. He missed on the putback. Danso pushing it up the floor now to Fox. Fox with the lead behind. 3-point shot there at the front of the iron by Brown. And we're going back the other way. Ray White guilty of the foul, and we go back the other way with Morehouse in the bonus shooting. Fox there down the floor. Dragons missed a good opportunity for a big basket to kind of get back into this ball game, although they're only trailing by 8 at this point. That three-pointer would have been huge. Instead, it's a foul by White, and you go back the other way with Akinobi shooting from the free throw line for Morehouse, and he hits the first free throw. Brandon Mason back out on the floor. Lou Johnson back out as well. Fox and Lee take seats. Akinobi misses on the second from the line as we go to 6:05 left. Johnson out front. Over to White. White works it hard left side. Floater in the paint. Spinners off the mark. He's there for the tip. And on his third tip, they're going to wave it off. They'll call a foul on White, fighting for the position on the inside. Take a look at the replay. White missed on the first offering. Yeah, got the arm there on Akinobi on the second tip. They'll get him. He had the arm out there and made contact with Akinobi. It looks like they're sending Robert Andrews to the line to shoot, though. Now they're going to get it right. They're saying that Akinobi was the Maroon Tiger who was fouled. That stands consistent with what the officials saw on the call. Let's take a look at that replay. It's going to be an issue of how much. As you look at it right there, he's got his arm under the armpit of Akinobi. If you see that, you got to assume that that's enough pressure to throw him off his track or the game till the call was made. 61-51. Akinobi for the second. Takes the lead back up to 11 now for Morehouse. Right corner. Head fake and on the move at the block. Bank is good. Nicely done by D'Angelo Brown. Morehouse lead down to 9. We're at 5:34 left. Olmert cross dribble headed toward the rack. Whistles. They're going to count the basket, and he was fouled. White fouled once again. Take a look at this on the replay. Good quick step there by Olmert. White steps in his path. Yeah, you got to call that. That arm is still kind of hanging down there and making body contact with Olmert on the drive. The best you can do there is just have your arm straight up in the air. But he was holding that left arm low. Olmert misses on the free throw. Basketball chased around, and it'll belong to the Maroon Tigers. Morehouse will have the basketball. They're just waiting to grab this perspiration spot just in front of their bench. .5:24 remains in the contest. Andrews to inbound and in front of the Morehouse bench. 64-53 lead. Olmert out front. Some contact, no call there. 9 to shoot for the Maroon Tigers as Olmert works it inside the paint over to Brown. Contested inside. Good block inside by the Dragons. It's loose on the floor. This time the call goes in favor of Lane. Down to 5:05 left in the ball game. Mason to inbound it. Winner of this ball game meets the Dragons, the Lions of Payne College, in quarterfinal action on Thursday at 7:45. So brackets fully set almost for quarterfinal play, except for the determination of who out of this game will go to meet the Lions. Henry over to Hill. Now Johnson in the corner, free for three. Hit the back of the iron on the shot. We go to 4:46 remaining. Andrews out front. Gives on the weave to Olmert. In the corner, Gooden. Now he'll circle inside the paint. Got the jumper airborne, but he missed on the shot. Foul called on Ray White once again on the inside. White picks up his fourth, wrapping the arms around Akinobi on that rebound attempt. .429 remains. Akinobi, 6 points in the contest. And he got to spin on the free throw. Brandon Danso back out on the floor now for the Dragons. And Akinobi knocks down both of the free throws for Morehouse. 66-53. Back the other way, Hill challenges Akinobi, and Akinobi able to reject the basketball. Hill still down on the surface now. And now they will be able to stop play. It could not until a possession was established. If Lane had possession, it could stop the ball, but they could not as long as it was in transition, and they did not have established possession. Take a look at the replay here. Hill going to the inside. Body contact, and he took a knee from Akinobi to the backside area. That sent him tumbling to the surface. So Hill suffering. Trying to stand, but he's got that pressure right there near the back area where that knee came in. You can see that on a shot there. Caught him right with the knee in the small of the back or just to the left of it. So we're down to 4:14, and Hill out of the ball game again. Morehouse will have the basketball. Olmert in the backcourt now. Trying to work it down inside if he can. Akinobi trying to set a screen. Olmert at the rack with the left-hand floater. Shots off the mark. Rebounds cleared by Brown. And he'll have it across the timeline. Fires a three-pointer from outside and missed on the shot. Down to 3:47 left in the ball game. Olmert over to Gooden. Now 13 to shoot with Andrews way away from the basket. Now 10 with Olmert handling. Tie up out there and able to keep it. Olmert with the floater at the cylinder, and he got it to fall. Henry behind the arc, over to Johnson. He lost it momentarily. Back to Henry, forces a three-pointer and nails it for the Dragons. 3:02 remains. And timeouts taken by Coach Brandon Bazemore after the jump shot by Henry from behind the arc. Makes it 68-56 with 3:02 left. Dragons trying to see if they can muster one last run here to cut into that deficit of the Maroon Tigers. Take a break. We'll find out whether they can. Live basketball continues from the 2020 SIAC Basketball Tournament on FloHoops. Back live inside the Rock Hill Sports and Events Center with 3:02 remaining in the ball game. Morehouse from the floor shooting 48%, 25 of 54. Dragons at 41% at 20 of 48. Morehouse with the basketball in the backcourt. They lead it 68-56. Akinobi in the front court now. Gives it over to Sterling. Now Olmert handles out front with 10 to shoot. Whistles on the penetration. And a foul called on Olmert, creating space with the arm or elbow. So with 2:41 left now, Dragons with it on their end of the floor. They work it down at the block and all the way through for the lay-in is Fox for the Dragons. .26 left, 10-point lead for the Maroon Tigers. Whistles and a foul there. Going to be called against Fox, trying to guard closely on Olmert. So Olmert to shoot. Olmert with 12 points in the ball game, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals for the Maroon Tigers. Leaves that first free throw attempt short. Olmert on the second, missed on that as well. White with the rebound for the Dragons. They go right side to the rack. Akinobi rejects the shot of Fox on the inside. Akinobi with his 5th block in this contest. As you take a look at him rejecting Fox there on the inside. White at the baseline now. He'll spin and work the corner, missed on the shot. And the basketball knocked out of bounds. It'll belong to the Maroon Tigers with 1:58 left. Olmert got it into the front court and took the timeout for the Maroon Tigers with 1:49 remaining. So the Maroon Tigers with a 10-point lead and 1:49 left. Opportunity to punch their ticket into the quarterfinals. We do know what our matchups for quarterfinal play will be tomorrow here from the Rock Hill Sports and Events Center. It will start tomorrow at 1 o'clock on the women's side with the Lady Bears and Morehouse College meeting the Lady Dragons, the defending Lady Champions of the SIAC, the Lady Dragons of Lane College. That's a 1 o'clock start. Then we'll flip over to the men. At 3:15, it'll be the division-leading men of Morehouse College meeting the Tigers of Savannah State, who advanced with the win over Spring Hill. Then at 5:30, we go back to the women with Payne, the Lady Lions, and Benedict, the number 1 team out of the East, making their first appearance in the quarterfinals. They will tangle at 5:30. And in our final quarterfinal ball game on tomorrow will be Benedict with the win over Lemoyne-Owen, getting set to meet the number 1 team out of the East. And this is on the men's side, the Golden Rams of Albany State. Olbert now down in the corner. Sterling with the three-pointer, knocks it down. And that just about destroys all the hope there for the Dragons with the triple in the corner by Jordan Sterling. White behind the arc, forced to take a three-pointer. That one's off the mark. Ulmer chases it down before it goes out of bounds. We go to 1:20 left. And Morehouse on its way to quarterfinal action. Andrews just in front of their bench pushes it out. And Gooden bumped there mid to mid strike there by D'Angelo Brown. I believe that's going to be Brown's 5th foul. So Brown fouls out. And we're at 69 seconds remaining. So Morehouse is going to fill the final spot in men's quarterfinal play. And they will play on Thursday at 7:45. So quarterfinal brackets over the next 2 days set here for the 2020 SIAC Basketball Tournament. Gooden rattles the free throw. Good for the Maroon Tigers. One more coming, and that one stayed true for him on the cylinder as well. He's able to knock that down. Henry rattles a jump shot behind the arc, good for 3 for him. And Coach Bazemore and the Dragons take a timeout with 63 seconds left, trailing by 12. So take a look at Henry. Worked his way, got some space, and knocks down the triple. But it looks like that's going to be all a little bit too late for the Dragons against the team in the Maroon Tigers, who shot very well from the floor and also defended very well in this basketball game. Dragons had 61 points in the contest, well below their season average of 70 points per contest and above. So Morehouse did what they needed to do on both ends of the floor. The Dragons now showing on the scoreboard with no timeouts left, so everything else that they can come up with has to be played in the natural flow of the ball game without any play stoppage. Trailing by 12, Morehouse avenging that loss to the Dragons in the regular season. Gooden set to inbound the basketball. Pushes it in the corner to Andrews. He's doubled there. Up to Olmert. And Olmert across the timeline. Look for the foul to come pretty quickly here, but they get it in the corner to Sterling instead. Now back out to Gooden. Good ball movement by the Maroon Tigers. And there, finally, Henry catches up with Andrews, and Andrews will be at the line shooting. 51 seconds remains. Andrews knocks down the first. (74-61) after that free throw. Andrews came into the season, the preseason conference player of the year. Henry behind the arc. Misses on the three. Akinobi clears the rebound. And a whistle called in the backcourt. So we go back to the other end to shoot free throws. Jarius Adley set to come in. Next dead ball. So is Chris Brown. And Coach Brewer doing that for defensive purposes. And to also give his starters a break. Also recognizing that Gooden got that ankle injury early and don't want to take a chance here with a win already in the bag with 42 seconds and something unfortunate happening. Akinobi from the free throw line gets that free throw. So make it 76-61. Jumper off the mark by Henry. So now 31 seconds left. Likely the Dragons not necessarily going to foul here. No timeouts left, not a whole lot they can do, or even if they stop play with a foul. Just adding more points potentially for Morehouse. So the Maroon Tigers going to advance into the quarterfinal play with a 76-61 win over the Dragons of Lane College, and Morehouse set to meet the Lions of Payne on Thursday at 7:45. So quarterfinals are set after these 2.2 seconds run down on the clock. Well, there's the final horn here with no seconds showing on the clock. So Morehouse officially wins this final ball game in the first round play of the tournament, and they will go to the quarterfinals to meet Payne College. So all of our quarterfinal brackets are set, and our coverage will begin tomorrow at 1 o'clock, starting with women's basketball in quarterfinal play with the Lady Bears of Miles College and the Lady Dragons of Lane College to get us going in 2 days of quarterfinal basketball. For our 6-game coverage today is concluded with this ball game of Morehouse winning it. So glad that you were able to join us on Flo Hoops for our coverage. Back here tomorrow at 1 o'clock for the start of quarterfinal play. Until then, on behalf of producer and director James Crenshaw, camera people Alicia Harris and Roosevelt Smith, this is Charles Ward saying thanks so much for joining us here on Flo Hoops for the 2020 SIAC Basketball Tournament. First final ball game and the final day of first round activity, live from the Rock Hill Sports and Events Center in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Make your plans to join us tomorrow. Until then, have a great evening.